the middle, which is formed by, if we look in the center, there is the European Asili, deficient, lacking wholeness, and therefore, or because of that, imposing control outward toward what is perceived to be other. And we will talk about why that is necessary, given that worldview and that Asili, actually. Then the imposition of control then creates a rational order, a technical order. And this is in an attempt to make up for what is lacking in the Asili. It feeds on conflict and tension. What is rational order is actually disorder. What is technical order is actually destruction. That is from the point of view of the African worldview. And the conceptual model, as you look at that at sea, is based on this concept of the Asili, which you have read about in the introduction, right? Right. Good. And so the Asili is the seed, the origin, the essence. It is the DNA, if you will, of the culture, the template, the matrix, all of these things, we could say. It is the logos, that which makes sense of everything in the culture. Now that right there is the key concept to how the book works. Because what it's saying is that once we can determine the nature of the Asili, then we can use that to understand everything and anything that happens within the culture, that is created within the culture. Okay, that's the ground rule that I'm saying. Once we determine the nature of that cultural seed, then you use it as a decoding device, which is what Dr. Welsing was saying in some of her articles in the book that you read. Looking for how do you decode this thing. Okay? So that's the nature of the Asili. Now the Asili can manifest itself, and does, in different times, in different ways. But the way to see the sameness in all those manifestations is to understand the nature of the Asili. Is that clear? Okay? And it's like a seed. And that seed develops and that seed grows. So we will move through how that seed developed and grew and was fulfilled through Platonic thought, through the organization of the Christian church, or the institutionalization of Christianity and that religion and so forth. You see, through different periods, how science was used to develop that particular Asili. That is, a particular definition of science. That's what we have to understand. Okay? So this concept is very important for understanding the argument in the book. Another thing that's very important, this is an aside, but it's extremely important, it'll come again and again and again, is what the Asili does is it allows us to be specific about what is European. Because part of the problem is that we have been looking at European behavior, European thought, and been told that what we're looking at is something that's universal. And we have not understood it to be specifically theirs and what they did, their nature, and not ours. Okay, that is very useful for them. They have used that well. And that's a lot of what the book is about. Okay, so if you can keep that in your mind as well, it will help. Now this Asili, in general now, we're still just dealing with the conceptual model. The asili manifests itself as thought and as energy. Manifests itself as thought. We call that utamawazo, okay? Which is the way that people must think if the asili is to fulfill itself. Okay, all of this is probably in the text. I mean, almost said that way. I don't know if it said that simply. I don't know. The asili has a vital principle, something which keeps the culture going, keeps it developing. It's energy. That's the utama roho. That's the will of the culture, so to speak. That's its purpose, the driving force, what motivates the collective behavior of the people. Again, let's go back. The asili